All right, ladies and gents, in this video, I'm interviewing Andrew Jimenez, who is 30 years old and built a life insurance agency that does $280,000 per month. Now, you may be thinking, gosh, that's so much premium. He must be working these crazy long hours and just slaving away to run this agency. But you'd be completely wrong because Andrew went to Thailand and Japan last year. He's going back to Japan in a month, and he's been traveling the world while running this massive business. So, Andrew, I want to bring you on the channel. I think there's a lot of people out there that get into this game and that, they're having to grind their face off to make the income they want to make. But obviously, you have something figured out where you're able to live the lifestyle and you're able to make the income. So that's what I want to bring you on here to talk about. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Excited to be, and absolutely anything for you and Julian, man. Anything you guys ever need.
Appreciate you, brother. You're the man. Well, kind of give people the background on yourself, who you are, how you got into the industry, what's led you up to this point.
Yeah, guys, Andrew Jimenez working out here with Symmetry Financial Group. Started this whole industry and whole run when I was 21 years old. Never done sales, never done insurance, never done anything like this before. In fact, I was stocking boxes in the warehouse for about $12 an hour. I
So you got
had
the boxes in the back. Must be a prop
yeah.
for the video, huh?
Yeah. Funny enough, I actually do keep a photo of me on the cherry picker. I was fixing like an air duct a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
It's a reminder of like, I never want to go back to that because that sucked. And
Yeah.
so, no, this is actually my wife and I just closed on a house literally yesterday. And
That's
so
awesome, dude.
the last year has been crazy, and we can take a dive into it later. But yeah, like I was stocking boxes for 1,500 bucks a month, $600 in rent, $600 in student loans, hundred and something dollars left over for food, gas, electricity, you name it. So I found myself at a place where, all right, I'm a college dropout. I should probably get into something that would be good. And it honestly kind of came to this point where I tried car sales. No one would hire me. I didn't have enough experience. Tried the other route where I was like, okay, well, let me go into like customer service based sales stuff. And it just was not for me. I couldn't do the drive, the people, the cubicle, all that stuff. And I got fired in about 2 weeks. So they just kind of let me go. And then I came across insurance, and my first thought was, oh, this would be cool. And then my second thought was like, oh man, this is gonna be like Jake State Farm or something like that. And I'm gonna be in
Yeah.
khakis. And like, I don't want to go back to that. Then my
Yeah.
next thought was, oh man, what if it's like it's door knocking in 115-degree heat out here in Phoenix? Like that would be brutal too. And it was none of that. There was leads, there was a process, there was systems. And my first year in the business, I was able to clear 80 grand. Second year, 100. Third year, cleared 200 and plus. But that's how I really got into this, man. I'm just kind of at a place where a little out of options, and then turned into now a 9-year long career that is providing an insane lifestyle. So yeah.
Talk a little bit about that lifestyle. I know we touched on it briefly. I was giving you a little intro there, but what does your life look like now? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? What kind of vacations, trips? Talk about that.
Yeah. I would say the last really 2 years have accelerated to a level that, I put in the time, put in the energy. And I think like if anybody's looking at this thing and just thinking to themselves like, man, it's tough or it's hard, my first thing would just be like, hey, don't identify as that type of person. Like the insurance industry is not made for the people who just want to try to make a quick buck. You can go peddle insurance and you can make piddly money if that's what you want. But truly, if you think about this more like a true career, the longer you're in this business, the more money you make. And so I don't know how everybody's commission structure works, so I won't kind of dive too much into it. But normally we get paid from, writing a policy, and we get paid that way. Then you have renewals that come back and they come on, right? But the longer you're in it and you develop a book of business, you get to a point where, Tim, you're calling your past clients and they're just like, oh yeah, how are you? You keep up with your dentists, keep up with us twice a year. We can keep up with our clients twice a year, kind of thing, right?
Right.
And over time, at this point, the last 2 years have gotten me to the point where, I'm working maybe, goodness, 10 hours a week on personal production to make an effective 4 to 5 grand a week very consistently.
All right, so real quick, I need to interrupt the video because if you're a life insurance agent, chances are you're doing one of three things. You're either buying aged leads, you're buying leads from your IMO, or you're buying leads from a lead vendor. And chances are you are way overpaying for those leads. And not to mention, the leads never even pick up the phone. Well, if that sounds familiar, then give me the next 15 seconds and I'm going to show you something that's going to completely change everything. We just launched Insurance Agent Freedom School, which is an entire training platform and program that will show you how to fire your lead vendor and cut your lead costs to 1/10 of the prices that you're paying right now. This is a program that I used to sell for over $2,000, but right now you can get access for just 99 bucks a month and try for free for 7 days. Inside, you'll learn everything that you need to know to fire your lead vendor and cut your lead costs so you can start generating way more profits in your business. Not only that, but whenever you join, I'm also going to give you access to a dialing software that has allowed us to see answer rates as high as 20%. So if you make 100 dials, that means 20 people are answering. So I'm going to include a link down below this video to get access to a free trial. All you need to do is click the link down below and start your free trial to fire your lead vendor, generate more profits, boost your answer rates, and start making more money in your insurance business. Now, back to the video.
And that's including dials, appointments, and admin-based work. And so we can dive into the fun stuff if you want me to.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
So the last year, even 2 years. So my wife and I got married last year, and leading up to that point, I would say we were saving money, getting ready for the wedding, but still going on like vacations and carrier trips. I went to Banff in Canada I'd never been to. We went to a Mexico trip. I went to a Cancun trip, which was all fun. And then coming into last year, I was like, okay, we got a big wedding. We ended up doing a full destination wedding out in Cabo San Lucas.
I'm going there next week.
Have you ever been?
No, I haven't.
Have you been to Cancun?
I've been to Cozumel when I was in like 5th grade. It's been a while.
So kind of Cozumel is, you'll have that same exact vibe in Cancun. But like the reason I like Cabo a lot, one, also I'm just out here on the West Coast. It's just, you still get the party, but it's a lot closer, but it's also like super serene at the same time. Like you can escape it pretty effectively. It is such a vibe. So go enjoy the heck out of it, man.
No, I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
So
Get out of the Texas cold. It'll be nice.
I'm going to Dallas next week for our conference, and I like the weather change from like where you guys are at now to what it's going to be next week is wild.
Really?
Yeah. So
bipolar, it's crazy.
Yeah, and so we did this Cabo wedding. We had a bunch of people fly out for our destination wedding. We had like 150 people there, and just had
wow,
like
that's a big destination wedding, man.
And it was a blast. Like we had all of our friends, our family, they were all going to have to fly to Arizona anyways. So we said, why not go somewhere fun? You know, people from the company came, we had a blast, and it became this like week-long vacation wedding thing. And then my wife and I just opted for kind of like this 6 months later, we'll do the honeymoon. And so in between that, though, I still had another carrier trip that we went on. That was another just quick little pit stop in Mexico. Plus I had to shoot out to a company event. It was just like a nice little trip to San Diego and, you know, Minneapolis, etc. But then coming into the latter part of the year, we started getting really excited for our trip to our honeymoon. And we did a month-long honeymoon. And we went to 2 weeks in Thailand and 1 week in Japan, and then kind of rounded out, you know, on both ends, just kind of like recovering from that. But I know you were in Thailand. We went to Chiang Mai. Yep. We went to Chiang Rai. We skipped Bangkok. Really, we were the kind of like in and out of there. And
Bangkok's pretty lame, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Like that's what I thought too. I thought it's just another big city, but without the same level of culture that like Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai does. Yep. And then I forgot the exact name of the island, but it was like kind of the Phi Islands. And we went and saw the vacation beach, the Maya Beach that everyone goes to, and we honestly just hung out at a villa with a private pool and everything for 4 or 5 days before we flew to Japan. And we went to Japan in the fall and got to experience as awesome of a place as that is, and fell in love with it so much, man, that we decided, screw it, let's book another trip here coming up in April so we can go chase some cherry blossoms.
Which one did you like better, Japan or Thailand?
Japan, I'll say.
Really?
Yeah, I loved Thailand just because of the experience and the culture and the energy and the vibe of it. But there is something, Japan lives up to the hype. It really truly does, in the sense that like you get the first world country with the super high level culture at the same time. And the food is incredible there too. So you kind of get this really kind of best of all things. And surprisingly enough, people spoke English more in Thailand and in Japan. Like it was an interesting thing. I was not expecting to use
Really?
Google Translate as much as I did there.
Yeah, that's wild. The Thai language is like, not to get too off on a tangent, but that's one, like, that language is so hard. I don't even think you can learn it on Duolingo. I
Yeah,
got there, I was like, nope,
Google
no
Translate,
chance.
best friend. Just
Yep.
go.
100%. 100%. So, you're traveling around all this time. How are you like running the business and still, you guys are doing big numbers, $280,000. I think you said just last month or this month or whatever it was, but big numbers nonetheless. How are you managing that team and managing the agency while traveling around and having all this fun?
Yeah, I came across a system called EOS a long time, Entrepreneurial Operating System. And I
Uh-huh.
came across a quote that came out of their book called EOS Life that says, it's about doing what you love with those you love, making a difference, being fairly compensated, and then having time left over to pursue other passions. And I think that's like one of the biggest things that a lot of people get confused is like, okay, I'm just going to get into insurance or I'm just going to get into a self employed position. And all you end up doing is owning your own job, but you're still grinding every single day with really no apparent end resolve, which gets you in a place where it's like, okay, you might have passive income and you might have money, but still have no time. And that's the biggest thing. And so the EOS helped me develop a lot of systems. Definitely go check them out if you need to develop something like that. But it allowed me to put, I think, structure in place where I have my managers who run their own franchises and areas. And the way Symmetry set up is maybe a little bit different, but they run their organizations and brokerages, right? And then I have my own base shop or organization brokerage that I run, but I have a base shop manager. I have other agents that I'm developing their level of leadership, right? So that even if I step away, the business is running itself. We are also able to sell virtually, which is, I think, a huge thing for us. Being able to sell virtually allows me to go ahead and fly out. And right before our honeymoon, I sold like 7 grand worth of coverage and made about $5,000 in income. And then honestly was able to pay for my entire trip and honeymoon. We spent 4830, like 4,830 something bucks. And the fact that like my commissions were like just over 5,100 paid for the entire month that we were out there. And I even tried to sell a policy while I was out there. A little hard on the time zones, but nevertheless, so
Brutal
it's
in Asia, huh?
yeah, but it was just like the flexibility of it allowed me just to enjoy my time while I was out there. So it's a mix of systems and people, and having a correct system that will allow you the time to actually go away like that. Because the cool thing is this is like I can disappear, come back, but the biggest gift, Tim, was I only had one text from one agent, and we have like 60, 70 agents month to month that told me that they had a problem they had really need to talk to me about. Everyone else handled their stuff because there's a process in place.
I love that. So it sounds like for you, it's really just like, instead of running it like a job, you've built a real business that you own instead of just having a business that owns you. How do people make that shift? Because when you first get into this, like, you came from stacking boxes, making 1,500 bucks a month. Like, most people aren't just coming out of the womb wired like a business owner. How did you like shift your mindset to thinking like, oh, I'm a salesperson, to, oh, I'm building a real business and now I need to bring people on? And then, you're
Yeah,
probably one of the only agency owners I've talked to who actually read the traction book and does EOS. And what do you do, L10s every Monday or something as well?
every Thursday we do an
Yep.
L10. Yeah,
We do L10s in our company too. And like, there's probably 95% of the people watching this are like, what the hell is an L10? Like,
yeah.
Andrew and Tim have lost their mind. How do people make that shift? What's the best way to do that?
I think the first thing is you got to just realize if you don't have these systems set up, it's okay. I
Mm-hmm.
ran a business for a really long time not having systems and stuff set up. And it wasn't until we were doing probably about $150,000 a month in sales that I got stuck. And I realized that, like, oh man, this is like Andrew powered. And like, my energy, my time, my momentum, my ability to drive people or get them motivated and inspire them. The minute Andrew goes away, it feels like crap hits the fan. And at that point, I just started to realize, well, I need to start to figure out, how do I develop leadership a little bit better, but more so maybe how do I develop a little bit better managers, right, that can actually handle stuff without micromanaging people and pushing them away.
Yep.
So the first thing is like, I think that getting into EOS, if you go read Traction, it's like you can go do that. You can also hire an EOS implementer that can teach you how to do these things. It'll be a little costly. I think we spent 18,000 at that time. Now I think they got way smaller scale things that you can go ahead and go do, or you can just go read the book and do an EOS Traction group with, I think, lots of Facebook groups and other business owners that kind of develop their own stuff. But it also does start with making sure you have staff for this stuff. Like, get an accountant, get out of QuickBooks. You need to stop managing your own QuickBooks. You need to just give it to somebody that allows you to take it off. Get a tax person that allows you to take that off your desk. Next big hire that I made was obviously having a full-time staffed admin. And heck, if you don't have enough for them to do, well, guess what? Just make them your own personal assistant for the time being. But having somebody that is your go-to person, like I have an Alex, that is my go-to gal. Like, anything I ever need, whatever it may be in the business for contracting, systems, payouts, anything like that, she does it. Well, if she doesn't have enough to do, I make her just go ahead and book me some flights, schedule our stuff for the trips, etc. So that way I have that type of person. Then the next big thing is, I'm packing, so I was going to grab a book. Is developing your managers or your middle level management a little bit better, right? And so there were some really good books that kind of came my way that were the 1 Minute Manager, the 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey, the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, and then lastly, if this is recorded, this is minute 16 for you guys, so you can go back and listen to that. And then How to Be a Great Boss. Those 4 books changed the game for my mid-level management, that I had to, all of a sudden, I got a whole lot less calls on problems. And I got a whole lot more calls on how do I handle the problem. So instead of me getting calls about like, Tim calling me, Andrew, can you come solve this problem for me? Or this agent's going crazy, or yada, yada, yada is happening. I got this client. It was more so like, hey, I have this situation. How would you handle it? Okay, I'm going to go handle it. And then they came back to me about how it went, and I would give them
Mm-hmm.
feedback. And this developed more and more things where I got more and more time back. And it gave me time also, Tim, where, my grandma was super sick last year, and it was a fight. And she's 78, lots of health conditions. And if you're insurance, you probably know, like, kidney disease, stage 4 kidney disease. We got diabetes with an insulin and an A1C at 12. We got pacemaker. We got heart issues, and she's overweight. Like, you all get the picture.
Right.
It was really tough to get her to my wedding because she ended up getting jaundice. And the whole last year was a lot of stuff that she's been bedridden since about August. Well, just this past January, it's 2025 now, she was in the hospital 3 times. 3 times. And it's like, guess what? Andrew's the only one who works from home. So you know what everybody asks and says? Oh, you're all work from home. You own your business. Can't you go handle it? Well, I'll let you guys know that, yeah, I did go handle it because I could. And I'm sitting there handling doctors, dealing with them, and you know what? The agency still did 280,000, and I still was able to write 17 grand last month, and this month I'm on track to probably write about 20,000. And so the last 7 weeks, I've written 30 grand. I've issued $20,000 worth of it. I purchased a home. We got our next conference next week, but I got to spend a lot more time with my grandma at the hospital than I would have probably liked, because I still have that flexibility, and I put my business in a place where I have time to take care of things that are a priority while also, allocate towards the business effectively.
100%. And that's the thing too, that's, people, I think a lot of times people just think about the time they can get back to travel or do the different things they want to do, but we're all going to have situations like that. Like last year my mom had cancer. She was in the hospital for like from January to April, like almost 4 months. And I wasn't the one that was like in the hospital with her. Luckily, my family was able to do all of that. But, if I didn't have that family that could go there and stay with her, the place my business was at, I wouldn't have been able to be there for it. Right. And so, like, you really do need to build a business and put in the work now, because you never know when that situation is going to happen. Right. Luckily, it happened to you at a point where you have all those systems in place. You guys are doing big numbers and you can kind of step away and remove yourself. But, like, for people that are watching this, if you are in the I'm a glorified salesperson role and I don't have an agency or I don't have a business that can run without me, if something happens and you have to step away from the business to take care of a family member, like, your income stops.
Yep.
And it's a
So
it's a scary thing if you don't put those systems in place.
so let's talk about, like, I guess, building for us a moment, right? Because, like, you're right. I'm very grateful that 9 years later, I have a business that's established, running, middle level management that have spent time to develop and help them become something that, man, even if I got sick, everything's still going to run and work.
Mhm.
But, like, how do you kind of get to that point if you're just a glorified producer right now? I guess, like, the first thing is, if you're a glorified producer, you've probably gotten yourself to a point where you're making great money producing, but you probably have no time to deal with any other stuff, or you don't want to give up your time to deal with any other stuff, developing people, developing their problems or situations. So, like, the first thing I would say is make your glorified producer situation a little less all you. Hire an admin, hire an assistant, actually develop people and staff that you don't have to even call carriers anymore, right? That all of a sudden now you just have policy reviews constantly getting booked on your calendar every 6 months because they're calling on the past business to sign you up for it. Now that you've got yourself at a higher contract rate, again, I don't know how everyone's systems work, so I can just kind of speak on ours. But you get what's called like a sales override or a spread of everything that's sold within your agency. Well, if you're doing pretty well for yourself, you've probably gotten a contract raise of some sort. Figure out what that number is between, if somebody goes out there and writes one policy for 1,000 APV, 1,000 first year premium, or just call it $85 a month. What's your sales override from that? And if you can get to a point where you got a good solid sales override, you don't have to hire the world to start making $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 a month passively, which then all of a sudden that equates to either taking care of lead costs or, more effectively, taking care of another higher's salary. Then you get back more time. If you ever go read the book, Buy Back Your Time by David something or another, it's a blue book.
Is it
You just,
Dan Martell?
I think that's it. Yeah. It's literally just the whole cycle of wealth development is this. You make more money to buy back more time, to make more money, to buy back more time, to make more money, to buy back more time until you can't buy any more time back. And there was a really good video I saw on the guy who says, in a Ferrari with my in my car, in my garage
Ty
with
Lopez?
Ty Lopez. He
Yep.
posted a video about the 5 most effective ways of generating passive or system-based income. And his number fifth one, or its sixth bonus one, he said, is reading books. And he's like, I just don't get it why people don't read a book. He's like, they say they don't want them. They say they get, too much redundant information. He's like, here's the thing. People are literally putting in 300 pages for you, their entire life's work or all the problems that they made, so that way you can go read it and then just not do the same mistakes that they did. Why wouldn't you do that? I heard Ed Milet, his last podcast he did, he said, and he's like leading the top podcast at this point in terms of leadership and growth and development. If you don't know Ed Milet, well, guess what? You're watching insurance. He's probably in the top 3 overall income for anybody to ever be in insurance, period. Like, he helped build World Financial Group to what the point it is, and he sold out. So you got this guy that knows insurance that basically says that he reads a book in a weekend. Again, he's way out of the business, made oogles of money, 7 jets, whatever it is, has a house on every island you can think of and continent. And guess what? He still reads a book in a weekend. So why can't we, if we want to stop making 100 to 200 grand and want to actually start making 100 to 200 grand passively and have 30, 40 hours to go do whatever we want with per week?
It's not a huge ask.
Yeah, it's not.
Especially when we have audiobooks and you can summarize books in like 3 seconds on ChatGPT.
There you go. Like it's like you get all of it, everything. So I know there's skill sets around sales, and I think there's also skill sets around developing you, learning how to speed read, learning how to actually develop and build a system, reading the e-myth. All these little pieces will help you get back time. But here's my just one thing: is if you're listening to this, I'm talking to you right now. You have to give yourself grace. Okay. If you've never built a business, it's okay. I was there too. I was 21 years old when I started this thing. I made every mistake in the book. I had created chargebacks for myself. I had roll up debts. I had the flip side of it where I redlined my business. So I was just spending everything I was making. And like, I've done it all. But I can tell you this thing is that like, I probably wouldn't trade any of those pieces now that I'm 30. Looking back, yeah, I would be much further along if none of that stuff happened. But here's the thing is like, I understand a lot about business acumen at this point over 9 years. So give yourself the same amount of time. Don't be frustrated with yourself if it's only 2 to 3 years in and you're not where you're at. It's okay. And the thing about insurance is we make sneaky money here, and everyone that's in it for 20 something years, it looks at their career and says, oh yeah, I've had a great career in insurance. It wasn't easy, but man, they're well off. Give yourself the time. Not everyone can say that about their business in 20 years in it.
It's true. There's a lot of things that compound in the insurance business, and I think you look at people on social media who, maybe they post a lifestyle, even what we're talking about here, right? You traveling all the time, like there's certainly mistakes you're making now that you won't even know you're making until 2 to 3 years from now.
Yep.
Same for me. Like nobody's perfect, and the only thing that you can ask for is just to show up, learn a lesson every single day, and get a little bit better, and just slowly, incrementally improve until eventually, you're making so much money that you don't even know what to do with. But even
Yep.
those people that are making a tremendous income, they're not perfect. They have mistakes that they make all the time. They're constantly learning lessons in business, and it's constantly changing. So you can never really master the game when the game is always shifting and changing. And now you have AI coming into the mix and all these new technologies. Like you can never truly master it. And so I think giving yourself that grace is huge because for me personally, I'm very hard on myself about I should be further, I
Yep.
should be making more, doing more constantly. And I think it's a healthy place to live in, but you got to strike that balance between like being hard on yourself and then also giving yourself some grace there.
Yeah. Because like I think there's a really good quote that I saw the other day that said, you want to know the fastest way to change your perspective? Change who you're constantly comparing yourself to. Yeah. And then you look back and you compare Tim from 6 months ago or a year ago to Tim today, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Tim today is way better than 6 months and a year ago. And
Right.
I think we just always get trapped into who we're not and all these other people that are so much higher than us. But it's like, yeah, just wait, give us time. Somebody else is gonna slip up at some point. You just got to make sure you're ready to take the opportunity.
100%. Andrew, I appreciate you jumping on here, man. Where can the people find you if they want to learn more about working with you?
Yeah, Andrew J Ltd is my Instagram. Probably the easiest place. Gave up Facebook and all that other stuff, honestly, just because I wanted more time for myself. And so that LinkedIn, whatever you want to do to reach out, shoot me a text.
Respect, brother. You'll definitely get a lot of inquiries.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.